Hey, welcome back with Larry Wood. I'd like to talk to you about racism, but before I get to that, let's look at You Were Made for More by Pastor Jimmy Simla there in Brooklyn Tabernacle. We've been there, formerly my wife's home church, and a great book and a great ministry. Another great book is A Hand to Guide Me, Denzel Washington. Highly recommend that to everyone. What I'd like to talk to you about is that comic strip that showed the two police officers killing the chimpanzee. And because I understand how laws work in our three bodies of the government here in the United States, this wonderful country of ours, I understood them to mean Congress. To me, I didn't first think of our President Obama. But for those who are not well versed in the three branches of our government, I could see where that was an open innuendo. And it was wrong. And I don't want to bring it up. It's not worth showing it again. But you know what? That comic strip was racist, no matter what they try to say, and that's wrong. And the book that I'm going to publish talks about that in the early 60s and 70s growing up in Fort Lauderdale. But more importantly, what I want to address about the racism, it wasn't the author, and it wasn't the newspaper. If you search deep inside, and you'll see that what that answer is, it starts with Darwinism. Starts with the famous Darwin that most of us know in the modern era. It starts with his grandfather. And his grandfather used to take pygmy African men and put them in cages with chimpanzees and marvel at how they both lifted their hands up and ate their food. And that gave credence or credibility to some of the statements that were later made that are racist remarks. And then in St. Louis at the World Fair, here in the United States, something similar. And then, you know, Darwin's grandfather would go anywhere for a meal and subject people to this type of birth of racism. So I see that the chimpanzee model because of racism. And what breaks my heart is pastors like T.D. Jakes, who's a wonderful man, intelligent man, great church. Frederick Price spoke about it. Tony Evans has talked about it. The black community, the African American community here in America, especially the religious leaders, this Sunday, this Wednesday night, this Thursday night, this Sunday, should get up in arms and should be upset that a main publication can put this magazine out and the Jesse Jacksons and the Al Sharptons of our society are not standing up and saying, stop teaching Darwinism. I was on a plane, and this guy sitting next to me was a PhD, and we started talking, and he says, oh, you're a religious man. I said, what do you mean by that? He goes, you believe in God. And I says, you don't believe in God or purpose and design? He said, no. And I says, well, let's pursue this in a civil way. And I said, let's have some dialogue. I said, let me ask you a couple questions. And one of the questions I asked him was, hey, when was Darwin using the microscope? What era was that? What years was that? Was that the middle to the late 1800s? He goes, yes. I says, and so he had the microscope of the middle to the 1800s. And I said, now what the difference is now is our telescopes or our microscopes, our microscopes are more advanced, highly advanced. And I said, do you think a man of that critical ability to think would have the same opinion today as he did back then with the equipment that he has now to explore and understand better? And it's criminal that we permit in this country the thought and the theory, the poor science, because I don't believe Darwin himself would embrace those same ideas today with the same scientific equipment that he has to explore what gave birth to that idea. That is the root to your racism. Go to every public school, meet with every science teacher, challenge it, and watch what takes place when they start teaching it. Talk to you soon.